I'm here to kill chaos. That's my mission. Looks like chaos has been waiting for us.
You gonna make us go in there and find you?
Guess we'll just show ourselves in.
I only know one thing. I want to kill chaos. I need to. It's not a hope or a dream. It's like a hunger. A thirst.
Move aside! You're dust!
You sure chaos is here?
Yeah, they can only squash monsters for so long. I hate doing pest control.
This is the shrine of chaos. He's here. We just have to hunt him down.
Feel the pain!
The darkness is so thick I can taste it. This is it. No doubt.
Die already!
There was a knight who left on the same journey as you, but never returned. His name was Garland. If you could, I would be grateful if you looked for him.
Chaos.
I'll crush you! Know when you're beaten! And who are you?
We're here to kill chaos.
The prophecy's very own Warriors of Light.
Real.
He always wore such splendid armor, with a helmet that was terrifying to behold.
It's Garland!
No. I become chaos.
So everybody, chaos I, chaos think, chaos that, chaos. The trailer chaos is not that bad chaos. And, oh, by the way, chaos!
Yeah, I just look at this and I'm just like, ugh. You may as well just have it be a Final Fantasy 15 spinoff. I mean, it's clear they're obviously trying to copy the same sort of banter.
Dude, it is Final Fantasy 15 or 7 characters in Final Fantasy 1. It's just like, what the... I told a friend of mine as well as my brother this, and I will tell you this, Romney. This looks more like God of War than it does a Dark Souls game.
Yeah,
now,
I got more of a Ninja Gaiden vibe
yeah!
from it.
Yeah, and what's funny is like, this is the team that brought us Neo. So at that point, it makes sense. Like, a lot of the people that worked on Ninja Gaiden games went over to the Neo team. So it makes sense to me. But I have to make fun of it because of how silly and emo it is.
Yeah,
Oh
this
God.
doesn't even really feel like genuine. This feels more like, it basically feels like paint by numbers, where they're just like, oh, let's take all of the really, I mean, dark and gritty can work in a Final Fantasy setting.
It can.
I mean, we've seen it work before, but I look at this and I'm just like, this was not the setting to do it in. I mean, if he wanted the dark and gritty, a better setting would have been the world of 6, because there at least would be more justified. I mean, have it be like, you could be, I mean, I look at this, I'm just like, okay, if you want to go kind of the gritty style, 6 is a much better world. I mean, you've got the Magitech armor. I mean, heck, if you want to do it as like an alternate ending, you could set it during the time period where, okay, well, what if the characters weren't able to defeat Kefka after he basically destroyed the world, and you have to basically rise up and defeat Kefka? That would have worked better, but I look at this and I'm just like, this just feels so cynical. It just basically feels like they pulled Nomura and Nojima aside and basically like, oh, hey, well, make this action game spin-off of Final Fantasy, make it dark and gritty. It feels
From what
very...
I understand, Nojima actually had the idea. And Nomura's only there to work on the art for it because, well, Amano's about to retire. So at that point, it's not like they wanted to use the original Garland design that he came up with, but Yoshitaka Amano apparently refused them because he's getting ready to retire.
Yeah,
So...
and I will go on a limb and say Amano's designs don't translate to 3D very well. I mean, I would argue they don't really translate to animation well in general. I mean,
no,
if
you
you look
get
at
the right artist, the Amano ones can at least get something into a 3D model, but Nomura, I'm starting to believe that Nomura has like two gears when it comes to creating people, and it's starting to show really hard when it comes to his art. Because he really likes doing that dark, gritty kind of character. I would even make the argument that in Kingdom Hearts 3, the reason that we have such dark plaid colors on Sora and Riku is because he really wanted to darken the characters.
I mean, look no further than Yozora. I mean,
yeah,
there's a good example right there.
Exactly.
But again, looking at this, it just feels so cynical and so corporate to it, where it's like, it's basically... The best example I can give, this is basically, if Nojima's involved, this is basically Nojima and Nomura trying to recapture their glory days, but failing abysmally. It's like the middle-aged people who are just like, oh yeah, I can still totally do this football play that I did back in high school.
Kind of like Nomura and Kitase with Final Fantasy VII Remake. But,
Yeah, but at least with that, at least there was no pretense of it being an original idea. There's like, yeah, it's a remake, you know what you're walking into. Whereas here, it just feels desperate. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can't put it as anything else. The one thing I'm willing to say is I don't think it's a Souls-like. I think it's more like a God of War game. I think that's the way they're painting it out to be. So, Chaos Alex, how Chaos did you, Chaos, think of the trailer Chaos? Chaos!
Sure was. There was a lot of chaos in that
Chaos!
trailer. Chaos! Man. I think this game might be about chaos. Do you think that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think
yeah,
it's about
maybe
order.
not. Maybe that's a stretch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is like the biggest thing that I think a lot of people, especially Reddit, took away from this was how many times chaos was said in this trailer. This trailer, it needed a once-over. It really did. And I get it. There's not a whole lot of assets to be able to use just yet. From what I understand, the demo that came out shortly after this trailer was announced is up and running, and it's like a half hour long. So, yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of assets to work with. But
yeah,
I'll tell you one word I walked away with. Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at the visual aesthetic they're going for this, and I'm just like, this doesn't feel like Final Fantasy.
No.
Like, it doesn't really match. It basically feels like...
Like, to some extent, it doesn't even feel like 15.
No, because... And it's one thing, it kind of irks me that people tend to think, oh, having, color and having, something that's bright and vibrant is like, oh, we need to make this dark and super serious. It's like, no. Again, Final Fantasy VI, best example of a story that is dark and serious, but still balances out with moments of levity as well as a more pleasing visual design. I just look at this and I'm just like, this is them desperately trying to copy, well, either Dark Souls or Neo, or I would even argue them even trying to outdo what we got with Platinum with Nier Automata. But I look at this and I'm just like, okay, if you wanted another action-centric spin-off of Final Fantasy, I get you guys like working with Team Ninja. Maybe don't do this whole dark, gritty style. Maybe go more the fun, action-oriented style. Go more kind of a Ninja Gaiden. Maybe even do kind of a Devil May Cry sort of thing of, oh, you have different Final Fantasy jobs, and that determines how you fight in these different things, and be like, oh, switch styles on the fly.
That would be really cool. And also, Team Ninja, you need to work on some character design. It's either you get rid of one of the three and replace them with a chick with really big boobs that I can manipulate, or I'm just not going to be able to deal with any of that. Like, I'd rather deal with Team Ninja tropes than deal with any of those three. Like, especially Mr. Emo Chaos.
Yeah, which, again, I look at this and I'm just like, I get you're trying to establish, like, oh, it's like a hunger, but then you literally intercut with the whole, like, all these weird quips, and I'm just like, that's very inconsistent. I mean, if you're gonna go for someone who's desperate to, like, hunt down chaos or something, and because those lines of dialogue is like, oh, it's more like a hunger, you kind of make it like, oh, he's kind of more of a stoic sort of warrior. Then you hear these weird, angry quips. I'm just like, are you guys trying to have both the stoic warrior and the Hulk? Because it doesn't really work.
It's not working at all.
Yeah, I'm not sold.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm probably gonna try out the demo just to see what it's like, but I'm more laughing at that trailer than taking it seriously, which already tells me, like, given what you're trying to do, it didn't land very well.